Good morning children and welcome back to your chemistry class. Today in this chapter of chemical bonding and molecular structure, I shall talk about molecular orbital theory, which is also called as MOT. This theory is more rational, more useful as compared to valence bond theory. This theory was presented by Hund and Mulliken. Okay. Mulliken. So according to this theory, all the atomic orbitals of the atoms participating to form a molecule, they get disturbed when the concerned nuclei, they approach nearer, right? So they all get mixed up and they give rise to equivalent number of new orbitals and they belong to the molecule now. So these are then termed as molecular orbitals. These molecular orbitals, they are polycentric. So once again, try to understand what I said. What is molecular orbital? This theory is more rational and more useful as compared to the valence bond theory. So according to this theory, all the atomic orbitals of the atoms that are participating in the formation of a molecule, they get disturbed when the nuclei, they approach nearer. So what happens? They all get mixed up and they give rise to equivalent number of new orbitals and they belong to the molecule now. And thus they are termed as molecular orbitals. Okay. So as I told you, these are polycentric as well. So what is the difference between atomic orbital and molecular orbital? In atomic orbital, for example, if I am talking about hydrogen, okay, so how is hydrogen formed? It is your hydrogen, this molecule that can be formed by two similar atoms combining together. Now each hydrogen has one atomic number, so 1s and 1s. So if we talk about atomic orbital, then how do we represent it? It can be represented as this one electron and the other electron, they are all placed in the s orbital. Clear? This is your atomic orbital. In atomic orbital, we are talking about s, p, d and f, right? But if we have to represent the molecular orbital, so what will happen? As I told you that when the molecule formation takes place, then the atoms that are participating to form a molecule, the atoms which are participating to form the molecule, they get disturbed when the nuclei, they approach each other or they come closer. So they all get mixed up and they give rise to equivalent number of new orbitals. Now there are two here, so equivalent number of new orbitals will be given. So this is going to give rise to I should write it down like this, 1s plus 1s is going to give rise to equivalent number of new orbitals. Okay, equivalent number of new orbitals will be formed and they will be given in terms of sigma or pi, right? Gamma is not used, only in terms of, when we are talking about molecular orbitals, we are talking in terms of sigma and pi. Now when do we use sigma, when do we use pi, all that I will be explaining you after a little while. So I hope the difference between atomic orbital and molecular orbital is very clear. In atomic orbital, we are talking about SPDF, where in the s orbital the electrons are found, right? But when it forms when the two nuclei of the similar atoms, they come closer, then what happens? They get mixed up and they give rise to equivalent number of new orbitals, and these orbitals are thus called as molecular orbitals. These are termed as molecular orbitals. I hope this is very clear. Now, valence bond theory considered oxygen as diatomic But experimentally it was found that oxygen was paramagnetic, and this was only proved by this molecular orbital theory. Thus, the magnetic behavior was also explained by molecular orbital theory, and so it is more useful than a valence bond theory. Now, so further, as I was explaining you there, the molecular orbitals, they are of two types. As I told you, they are of two types. What are they? They are bonding molecular orbitals and they are anti-bonding molecular orbitals. Clear? So what did I say? These molecular orbitals, they are of two types. What are they? Either they are bonding molecular orbitals and anti-bonding molecular orbitals. They are arranged according to their increasing energy levels, right? The filling of the electrons in these molecular orbitals, they follow the same. Firstly, they follow the Aufbau principle, right? They follow Hund's rule, and they also follow Pauli's exclusion principle, right? So this was about your molecular orbital. To go ahead, now we will talk about LCAO. Now what is LCAO? It means linear combination of atomic orbitals. Okay, so let us understand what do we mean by LCAO, or linear combination of atomic orbitals. Now, molecular orbitals of a molecule, they are formed by the linear combination of the atomic orbitals. How? By addition of or subtraction of the wave functions. So these atomic orbitals of the atoms, they can be represented by the wave function. Okay, this is called as psi. What is this called as? Psi. So for two different atoms, it could be psi A and psi B, or you can also call it as wave function A, wave function B, respectively, for two different atoms. Okay. Now let us talk about the molecular orbital obtained by addition of the wave functions of atoms. So let us understand the linear combination of atomic orbitals. First one, molecular orbital obtained by addition of wave functions. Okay. Of atoms, right? It could be like psi molecular orbital, which is equal to psi A plus psi B, right? So this molecular orbital is called as bonding molecular orbital. What is this called as? This is called as bonding molecular orbital, right? Also called as constructive interference of waves, right? So here amplitude of the two waves, remember, they are added up, and hence we can say that these waves are in phase. Here waves are in phase. Okay, so let us see the probability of finding the electrons in the bonding molecular orbitals. How does it increase? Okay, So if we say that psi is equal to psi A plus psi B and we take the square of it, then when do we take the square? The probability of the electron density, it is always given by the square of the wave function. Okay, so this will be then equal to what? Psi A plus psi B, or wave function A plus wave function B square. So what will be the wave function square be equal to? It will be equal to wave function A square plus wave function B square plus 2 wave function A, wave function B. Thus we can see over here what? That the square of the wave function is always greater than the wave function A square plus wave function B square plus 2 wave function A, wave function B. So this shows that the probability of finding electrons in bonding molecular orbital is always more, or it increases, right? So let us see it diagrammatically. So if this is suppose wave function A, which can be shown in a linear combination, if I show you these are the waves. Okay, so if this is your A, what is this? This is your A. Now let us see for wave function B. It is also the same because it is the same atoms. So this is A, right? What do they form? The amplitude of A, sorry, this will be B. The amplitude of A and B will get combined. So what are we going to see? See, it increases. Okay. So what is this? This is your wave function A plus B. Wave function A plus wave function B. Okay. So this is what I said, that the square of the wave function is always greater than the wave function A square plus wave function B square plus 2 wave function A, B. I hope this is clear. What are they called as? They are constructive interference of waves, also termed as bonding molecular orbitals. Okay, so let us begin with the molecular orbital obtained by subtraction of the wave functions. So over here, what I mean to say, when we show the subtraction, we put a star over here. Okay, so this will be equal to what? Wave function A minus wave function B. So the formation, this formation, it is called as anti-bonding molecular orbital. What is this called as? This is your anti-bonding molecular orbital. Okay, and this is also called as destructive interference, right? The two waves, they are out of phase. They are not in phase now. The two waves are not in phase. Clear? And the amplitudes, they are subtracted. So let us see over here that psi is equal to what? As I wrote, wave function A minus wave function B. If we square this will be equal to wave function A minus wave function B ka whole square. So antibonding will be equal, antibonding square will be equal to what? Wave function antibonding square will be equal to psi A square plus psi b square minus 2 psi a psi b. So over here we see what? That the psi anti-bonding psi square, it is less than wave function a square plus wave function b square minus 2 wave function a and b. So this shows that the probability of finding the electrons in anti-bonding molecular orbital, it is less either by your wave function A or by your wave function B, right? So let us see this diagrammatically. So if suppose your wave function A, as I had shown you earlier, could be, this is your wave function A, the amplitude of wave function A, right? This is A. Let's look at the wave function. Amplitude of wave function B will also be the same. So this is the amplitude of B. So what happens when we see the destructive interference or when we see the antibonding molecular orbital formation? It will be somewhat, there is a subtraction. So subtracting the two, how will we form the antibonding waves? So this is the amplitude, okay? This is your amplitude A minus B. Postulates of this molecular orbital theory. So the first postulate says that the electrons in molecules, they are present in various molecular orbitals, as how the electron of an atom, they are present in various atomic orbitals. Okay, so once again, atoms के electrons, they are present in the atomic orbital. Like I had given you the example, no, 1s plus 1s of hydrogen. When we are going to show for the atomic orbital, we show it like this. The electrons of an atom, they are present in the atomic orbital. This is your 1s orbital, right? But in molecular orbital, what happens? They give rise to two more molecular orbitals. Okay, they give rise to two more molecular orbitals. One is bonding and the other one is anti-bonding molecular orbital. I hope this is very clear, right? So I will show it to you, the bonding orbital. I'll show it to you with a diagram. Suppose I'm talking about hydrogen, okay? So I'm talking about hydrogen. So over here, so this is hydrogen. It is 1s, okay? It has one electron over here. So this is another H with one electron. So 1 plus 1, they are forming two molecular orbitals. Okay. So the lower one, it is called as bonding molecular orbital. This one is a bonding molecular orbital represented with a sigma. Okay. This is your molecular orbitals. I hope this is clear. So this is your sigma, that is the bonding molecular orbital, and this is your sigma star, that is your anti-bonding molecular orbital, right? So molecular orbitals they always give rise to one bonding molecular orbital and one anti-bonding molecular orbital. Now always remember one point, that your bonding molecular orbital, which always has less energy, will be stable. Okay, and anti-bonding molecular orbital, which has more energy, will be unstable. Now energy level goes like this, upwards. It increases as we move up. Okay, energy increases as we move up. So what did I say? The bonding molecular orbitals, they are stable because they have less energy. Anti-bonding molecular orbitals, they are unstable because they have more energy in them, right? But overall, remember that the energy level will remain the same. They are arranged according to the increasing energy levels, but the energy level ultimately will become same. The electrons, they first will move to the lower energy level, right, or the lower molecular orbital, or you may also say to the bonding molecular orbital, which is more stable, and therefore these two electrons, they are going to move in this bonding molecular orbital. I hope this point is clear. Now, as I had said, the filling of the electrons in the molecular orbitals, they always follow certain principles. What were they? The Aufbau principle, Hund's rule, and Pauli's exclusion principle. This I was talking when the two similar atoms were combining. Second important point that you need to remember over here, that combining atomic orbital, they must have same or nearly same energy, and they have the same shape. For example, like your S will always overlap the S1. S will never overlap with P orbital. Remember that. S orbital will always overlap with the S orbital, and S orbital will not overlap with the P orbital. For example, let us see carbon plus oxygen. It forms what? Carbon monoxide. So the 1s of this carbon will combine with the 1s of oxygen only, and nearly they will have the same energy as atoms are different, but the energy will be the same. So what did I say? That energy should be the same when they combine, right? Similarly, I had given you for hydrogen and hydrogen. Okay, so this was 1s and this was also 1s. So they both combine, they have same energy as atoms are same. But, so this is possible, this is possible. But remember, 1s plus 2s, this combination does not form the molecular orbital. 1s and 2s will not form the molecular orbital. The energy level should be the same. 1s, 1s. It can be 2s plus 2s. This is okay. But 1s, 2s is not possible. I hope this is very clear. So energy should be same or nearly same. Then only the atoms, they can form the molecular orbital. Okay. So let us begin with the types of molecular orbitals formed. But before I begin with the types of molecular orbitals formed, once again I would like to remind you about the conditions for the combination of the atomic orbitals to form the molecular orbitals. So what was the first thing that I told you? The combining atomic orbitals, they should have same or comparable energy. Then the combining atomic orbitals must have proper orientation, that is, they should have same symmetry about the molecular axis, and the combining atomic orbitals must overlap to the maximum extent. So that is what I am going to explain you over here further in how the types of molecular orbitals formed. So when two atomic orbitals, they overlap along the internuclear axis, right? Then the molecular orbitals formed, they are termed as sigma and sigma star. This is bonding, this is anti-bonding molecular orbitals. And when overlapping takes place sideways, then the molecular orbitals formed are pi and pi star. Didn't I tell you, in atomic orbitals we talk about SPDF, and in molecular orbitals we talk about sigma and pi, right? So this is what I am trying to explain you. So when the atomic orbitals overlap along the nuclear axis, okay, then which kind of molecular orbitals formed? the sigma orbitals are formed. So this was along the internuclear axis, right? But when overlapping takes place sideways, when overlapping is sideways, then they will form bonding and anti-bonding pi molecular orbitals. Okay, so let us see this further. The molecular orbitals from s orbitals. Okay, so over here this is S1s plus 1s. Either it is going to show addition to form bonding, isn't it? Or it is going to show subtraction, that is anti-bonding. So when it is bonding means the two are coming closer. We saw the amplitude increasing, they add up. So what happens when they combine? They form this shape. Okay, this is one molecule, this is one electron, this is one electron from this, and these are the signs over here. So this is your sigma 1s. And what is anti-bonding sigma 1s? Now when they come together, subtraction takes place. Then in subtraction what will happen? Okay, these are the two, the plus sign here, the minus sign comes here. Okay, so this forms your sigma star 1s. So this on subtraction is formed. Can you see the division that takes place over here? So this is the formation of the molecular orbitals with the s, from the s orbitals, right? Now second one, let us see the molecular orbitals from p atomic orbitals. So end to end overlap first, let us see. End to end overlapping we will see first. So do you remember the different shapes of the atomic orbitals? If not, then for s they are spherical, for p they are dumbbell in shape. We get px, py, pz. For d orbital it is double dumbbell in shape. So all that I will be explaining you just now. So end to end orbital we are talking about, let this be 2px. So this is minus over here, this will be plus. When this combines with, this is plus and this is minus, and this is 2px. What is it going to give? Okay, so look over here, minus plus minus plus plus minus. Okay, so what is it going to form? It is going to form these two combine. This is minus minus and this becomes plus. Okay, so this forms your sigma 2px. Okay, then next let us see this is 2px, this is minus, this is plus, plus 2px, this is minus, this is plus. Then in that case, what are we going to form? Okay, so this is minus, this is plus, this is minus, this is plus. So what is going to happen when it is minus and plus? The nodal plane will be formed over here, and thus you will see okay, so this is minus, this is plus, this one is plus, and this one is minus. So this is the molecular orbital. Okay, and here it shows head on approach, and these are the atomic orbitals, and this forms what? This forms your sigma star or antibonding to px. I hope this is very clear. This was your end-to-end overlap. Second one, let us see side by side overlapping. So although my figures are not so very beautifully made, but try to understand. Plus minus, this could be like your 2py, or it could be 2pz, whatever you consider it. When combines with, they are combining sideways. Okay, this is also plus, this is also minus. So how will they combine now? Okay, so this will become plus 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 minus minus, and hence what type of molecular orbital are they going to give us? We will find a nodal plane over here. This is positive, this one is positive, this one is negative. And what is this? This is your nodal plane. Okay, and they thus form what? Pi 2py, you can say, if we are taking 2py, or pi 2pz. So this is your bonding pi 2py molecular orbital. Now let's see the anti-bonding of it. This is plus, this is minus. Once again, 2py or 2pz combines with, this is minus, this is plus. How are they going to combine? Okay, so this is plus minus, this is minus plus, right? Thus they form, there is one nodal formed over here, and there will be one nodal formed over here. Okay, two nodals are formed over here. So this becomes your plus minus, this is your minus and plus. This is one nodal plane and this one is another nodal plane, right? This forms your pi antibonding 2 pi y or pi antibonding 2 pi z. So these are the molecular orbitals. I hope it is very clear to you. Now crest of electron waves, they are always in the positive sign and the troughs, they are in the negative sign that I had shown you over here. The crest and the troughs, they are positive and this is negative. Okay, so when they combine you get positive, negative. Now bonding molecular orbital, it is always formed by the combinations of plus and with minus and minus part of electron wave, whereas the reverse one or the anti-bonding, it is always formed when by the orbitals of the plus and the minus signs. Okay, over here plus and minus signs, they do not have any relation with the charge. Do remember. So that is all for today. I shall continue with this topic in the next video as well. Thank you.